You're listening to RLIP, Interactive Podcast.
Hello, citizens of the internet. I'm your humble host, Hero Lux. If you don't already know, you're listening to RLIP, Rose Lux, Interactive Podcast. And right now, playing in the background is a track that was comprised by our good friend.
What's up, it's Buddah Black. How's it going, guys?
Who's actually here with the studio today, believe it or not. Finally! The traffic must have been crazy coming over here, man.
Crazy doesn't define it. It was insane. All right.
But before we get to formal introductions and everything, let me tell you guys listening out there about how we intend to run this podcast. For the record, we're not experts. We're just trying to express our opinions about the things that we enjoy. Also, the only people that moderate our show is, well, us. So you have been forewarned, and if we insult you and offend you in any way, shape, or form, we're sorry. Now that our mature disclaimer has been stated, you're listening to this at your own accord. It's time that we really introduce everybody.
That means risk.
And a talented guy who gets multiple introductions on this show. I guess like 3 now. And it's a pleasure to have with us today, Mr. Buddah Black himself. How's it been, man? Well, besides traffic.
Aside from traffic, it's been pretty awesome, man. Glad to be here.
It was awesome. Also with us, the always fun, always quixotic, and pushing the boundaries of the macabre and depraved, our very own guide to Japanese absurdity, Savious.
Hello, I'm here. If you don't know me by my real name, it's also Taro. You know, Hentai with Taro at Springfest. So yeah.
Lastly, in our panel of correspondents, but not least, our art director for Rose Lux Studios herself, my partner in crime actually, and artistry and all things bizarre in our quest for originality, Rosa Roman. How are you feeling, Rose?
Woo.
Woo?
Woo.
That's all I got? You see, I have to be the light bulb in the room, don't I? I have to be the ray of sunshine. Also in the studio with us today, but not really as our correspondent, unless you were listening to us earlier, lurking in the shadows, our financial director himself, Daquan the Q Mays. He's just here making sure that his hard-earned money didn't go to waste. Am I right, Quan?
Look, I know one thing. Y'all still owe me your souls.
Great, now that we trudged through that lengthy and gaudy introduction, let's get to the pop topic of the day. All right, how the pop topic works is that this is the main focus of our podcast. And even though we may deviate and do some segments to keep your attention, we'll always return to our pop topic. I'm going to assume that you guys got that, and we'll continue valiantly. Today's pop topic, digital versus traditional. The ultimate question, is it art? Take it away, guys.
Well, as an artist myself, I don't know. I feel that of course it's art. It's a tool, you know. As an artist, what's your purpose? To create. So no matter what you use to create, you're creating. You know, art could simply just be like standing there and having people try to interpret what you're doing as, you know, an object in space that obstructs where people walk. Art, boom.
For those of you that didn't hear that, Mr. Buddah Black himself just let one out.
Actually, that was my ass sliding.
It was honestly the chair. I'm sitting in the same type of chair. It's the chair. It's the chair.
I'm trying to cover it up, guys.
It was like, if it had been that would have been perfectly, you know. I'm saying, fart cannons, come on.
That's an art.
That's art too.
That is art. That's totally art.
If you have a
you know,
flamethrower.
as our art director, as Rose Lux Studios art director,
You asked me this already. Go ahead.
what do you feel on the subject?
You really?
Deja vu it.
Yeah, right? Well, I believe it is art. Like I told you earlier, it is art. The only difference is that I feel like you feel more in touch when you're drawing by hand than drawing digitally, because you can actually have something physically by hand, than just like click, look at something, draw. It doesn't feel the same. And like I was saying earlier, the prints, you can have something physical when you're drawing traditional, but when you're drawing on the computer, you have to print it out to actually have it physical in your hand.
Pretend like earlier was just a practice run. We really starting right now. You're good. Just go crazy. But elaborate more on what you were talking about when it came to the prints. What prints are you talking exactly? Like
when you print it out on the computer, when you print it out of a printer.
So wait. I'm sorry, but so as a creator, you don't feel attached to something that you made digitally? Is that what you're saying? Why not? Like, it's all right.
You want me to explain?
Yes, please.
All right. So imagine you take, when you're drawing something by hand, right? It takes you a week because you have to color it, you have to ink it, you're putting your mind, you're erasing with your own hand. When you're doing something digitally, it takes at least 6 hours for you to do. Did you actually put your whole heart into it?
I can say yes. I still put my whole heart into it. Like, regardless of what medium I used that medium to create it. That's like saying I made this amazing drawing of a sunset that I saw one day, but I didn't sit there and capture that sunset in a day because I can't draw that freaking fast. So what I did was I took a picture of the sunset, took that picture that held so much meaning to me, that scene, that moment in time, and decided that I was going to take it home and recapture it. Now, no matter how I recapture that, whether it's painting, drawing, or if I used a spray paint can, or if I made music, if I made like a beat from it, like, it's still, like, that came from my soul, you feel me? Like.
But you see, that's a different sense for you.
Okay.
For when I'm drawing on a computer, I don't.
Hang on, I don't mean to interrupt you guys. But just for all our Spreaker fans that are just getting into the action right now, apologize. We were having technical difficulties, but we're live on Spreaker now. So how are you doing, guys? Get us with some messages, ask us some questions on our Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter. Just find us and ask away. All right, sorry about that, guys. So continue.
No, but for me, that's the thing. You make beats. You try to do different mediums for it. For me, I don't feel the same connection with a computer that I have with a piece of paper in front of me. Because when you're in front, imagine having this huge thing in front of you, and you have to keep zooming in with whatever you have, a mouse or a tablet, and you're just zooming in and you're just drawing this. It doesn't feel the same as you just getting your face close to the paper and just drawing the details. For me, I feel more attached to pen and paper than a digitalized computer.
Mr. Buddah Black, if you may, can you get a little closer to the microphone? Sorry about that. Just I want everybody, because this is a very heightened level of conversation.
You could just pull it down.
I'll pull it down.
Yeah, you can mess with it.
Don't push the mic at us.
You see, you can do whatever.
Do not grab the mic.
So Savious, where you at on so far? You've been quiet.
Oh yeah.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just curious.
You're putting me on the spot. But the way I see it is that there is so many different forms of art, to the point like, what is traditional art anymore? Like there's traditional like drawing, but what's traditional in music making? Well, there's traditional music making, but there's like forms of art like such as photography and things. Is like photography was like always digital, and then there's like people use instruments for music, but then you can also just go on a computer and you can find the instruments and make the beats digitally. And I guess when it comes between traditional and digital, you'd have to see which one you want to take up less time doing.
Interesting. Like the way you put that. That's intriguing.
I kind of said it weird, but
No. I think you worded it perfectly. It's less. I believe that we're all in consensus in that. It's less about the art as it is the artist.
You can put it on the table.
Is that what you were getting for?
Yeah, but
Just feel comfortable.
the way you see it is like it's art no matter what form it is, as long as you're loving doing it. You're loving it while you're doing it. And I see like a lot of artists nowadays, I use quotation marks, they're not in love with their art as they were like in the past. Like the love, like you can see it in their work as the love just starts to fade away from it, and then it's like, what's that?
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that's pretty much where your gripe in the industry nowadays comes from. Am I right, Rosa? It's a lack of passion that's almost formulaic, that comes from doing it digitally.
Yeah, it is actually. But the thing is that there are so many good artists out there that only do it for money. You guys don't agree? Like, I actually know someone that she went to a lot of art fairs, but all she does it is for the money.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being an artist I mean, everyone wants to get paid doing what they love doing.
But she doesn't like doing it.
Well,
That's what I mean.
But I don't think, honestly, I don't believe there are like, like that's commercial artistry. Like everyone's just trying to get paid. Not like.
It could have been that at one point she loved doing it, and then she made a living off of it. So
she started seeing it as a job instead of
she started seeing it as like a career and a job. It's like usually a career is something you actually love doing. Like maybe like somewhere deep and down she still loves doing it, but now it's just like an everyday thing for her. It doesn't take that interest as it once did.
Yes. Got it right, Savious.
But then that was what we were getting at previously, in that when does commercial artistry actually in itself devoid of its kind of artistic essence, so to speak, especially with all these major conglomerate companies buying up all this creative property nowadays? Are we really getting art, or are we just getting kind of a repackaged, reproduced, almost free dry knockoff?
Well, it depends on
is that in itself art?
It depends on where you're getting your sources from, because like there's art everywhere. Art's all around us. First off, I mean, my definition of art isn't something that we just create, because if you think about it, if you really get down to the core of it, no matter what, we're all artists. Okay, it's not. I had a post on Facebook about this earlier today, maybe yesterday, and it was a little chart, and it said, "How do I become a good artist? Step 1, make a piece of art." And then there's a crossroads. Does it suck? Is it awesome? Either way, you get the same conclusion. You're an artist.
That's where my aspect of teach you how to draw. We already know how to draw. You mean teach us techniques?
All right. So now the way I look at teaching as well now, it's just really about showing people just how to, like, hey, look, like you can do this.
Techniques.
Not even techniques. Like, because all right. Now I don't think about the like hatching, cross hatching. It's more about just like blending, whatever. Like I won't draw forms, things like that. If I'm drawing, like I try to make it crazy. Like if I could compare it to anything, it'd be kind of like Jackson Pollock. Like I'll just throw ink and like pencil shavings at the paper and like see how they fall. Like just do whatever.
No, I know what you mean, but that's a technique. If you think about it, because that's abstract.
It's a technique, but it is abstract. But that's the thing with abstraction.
There's no technique for abstraction,
Exactly.
but it's a type of art form. That's what I'm saying. When someone tells me, because I've seen this so many times, and even how to draw anime books. They piss me off because it's not about how to draw, it's how I can show you to draw these different type of things. You see what I mean?
I mean, where we're getting at, we're coming back to kind of what Savious was saying earlier, and that in regards is really, and then because I remember seeing that meme on your
I saw it
Facebook.
too.
I never seen it.
Buddha, I was looking at it and I was going, oh, it just means quick. I mean, at the end of the day, an art is nothing without the catalyst that is the artist.
But the thing is that when you're drawing, like people say, "Oh, I suck at drawing. Oh, I can't draw." It's not about sucking. It's about teaching yourself different different ways of doing things.
It's not really about that.
But I mean,
Yeah, I got you.
but I mean, like you have to.
It's like no.
For those
You
that
have
have not
to-
seen it, Rosa pounded.
It's like no.
But for the thing is
Fist
that
bump, y'all.
it's not about them sucking. It really isn't. Oh, my stuff is ugly. No, it's not. You just need to get better. And then the thing is, if you like that style, you don't have to change it.
My stick figures are art.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure you.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Well,
All right, on that note,
but
guys.
you can develop.
On that note, let's take a break. Let's move on to something else. Right now, I think it would be a good time for me and Rosa to give everybody a little bit of a Rose Lux update. You ready for that? All right. All right, so how Rose Lux updates work is that many people have asked us about our new projects and events and overall what we are up to. So we're gonna take a few minutes to take you guys and bring you into this journey, you know, of the things that we are getting asked is whatever, like, you know, it's just, we're gonna just update you. You know how it is. But one of the biggest questions we've been getting asked a lot is, what's up with the release party and the comic itself? I mean, I'm sure you guys here have been wondering about that too, right? No? Because not many people know, but Buddha is actually going to come down and DJ for that party, for that release party. And
your release.
our release party, yeah.
Yes.
People been asking about what's up with the comic and what's up with itself and what happened at the release party. Anything you want to say before I give the in-depth story of the miraculous journey of the comic book that never was?
There are things you should mention, and there are things that should be kept secret.
All right, that was vague.
What I'm trying to say is that don't spill the beans to everything.
Oh, no. I just wanted to, because again, it goes back to the release party. It was a huge thing. I think we were expecting literally about 300 people to show up.
Not only that, we started in I think it was July of last year that we started planning.
July of last year for an
Yeah.
event that was gonna happen November.
No, actually, we planned originally October 26th, but then we had to push it back because there was no venue space for that day.
And I don't want to be the guy that making excuses, but from the very beginning, people didn't know that there was a lot of individuals that didn't want us to have the release party. It was an intense struggle. It was way more intense than that we made it seem to be on our Facebook page, because we were very composed, very relaxed. We didn't overreact. We didn't want people to worry, but at the same time, I remember you and me were like literally pulling our hair off, because everything, it was like Murphy's Law in full effect. Anything bad,
But
that
that's what
could
I was,
happen did happen.
That's what I was trying to tell you guys. If you guys start thinking negatively, everything's gonna fall apart.
Oh no! I kept a very. I'll say I did get weighted under the stress. I'm not gonna say I was perfectly composed through the whole process.
Nobody was perfectly composed
through the entire process. But let's take it to the imagination, to the beginning of the
struggle.
Yeah, the release party.
Struggle.
I mean, it was a simple concept. It was just we were originally gonna make it very small, very intimate. Rosalie, you alright?
I'm good.
Okay. She had a little spasm. She's okay.
No, the shift happened again. No, I'm talking to you. The shift happened again.
Oh.
The thing that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened again.
It was really simple. It was that we were supposed to be intimate. It was gonna be a small gathering of people, and it wasn't supposed to be big. But as we kept falling in love with the series even more, like I still to this day consider Ami my daughter, and it's ridiculous. But the more we felt it, it was like, nah, it's not right to celebrate such a miraculous birth of this creation, of this idea to be sent in the universe with such small people. We wanted to make an event. We wanted to make an experience. So we did whatever we took with the budget that we had to make that happen. And I remember we spent 3 months looking for an event space that would accommodate us.
Yeah, about 3 months. We even went to Craigslist.
And we found a spot in Brooklyn, which was great because Savious lives out in Brooklyn. And a lot of the people who were interested, and a lot of the community lives in that, is really, it's interesting with the Brooklyn mentality. It's like, it's very accumulative. Like all the anime and I'll say fandom, all the fandom community is almost kind of like segregated in Brooklyn.
We're in like all these different parts of Brooklyn though, but
it's like you guys all know each other.
I think we really do. Cause I know like a lot of us, we met in like high school, and then like some of us we met at like random events. You know how Springfest happens, and then you just hang out somewhere, and then you magically just bump into people. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, what was interesting was that we were like, that was the best place to do it. It was a phenomenal place for the price that they were asking for us. But as we learned the hard way, nothing is too good to be true.
So many flaws.
And to be honest, we were probably the most devastated from the event, and mind my language, but shit out of a lot of money. For lack of a better phrase. And we still ended up not doing it because what happened was we gathered all the volunteers, we were ready to pay for the venue space, and are finished paying for the venue space because we did put a direct deposit, which luckily we did get back. I remember one of the weirdest things was that a lot of people were like tirading against the guy who was like, oh, he didn't give you your money back. I was like, wait, we're still negotiating here, because what people didn't understand, we were doing business with the booking manager of the venue. We weren't doing business with the owner of the space. And we came to find out that the owner of the space was actually the one that was jeopardizing the event, and not even that, jeopardizing quinceañeras, birthday parties, baby showers, baptisms. Everybody who went to that event space was getting their stuff canceled. And the dirty truth, I'll get to that in a second. But we did come to learn what it was that was the source of all of that, all of those weird, erratic cancellations.
You remember I didn't want to go to the kitchen?
Mm-hmm. And we'll get to the kitchen in a second. But we get to the if I remember. So a week before the event, we get a text message. The owner does not want to accommodate your event.
Let me see if I got that text message still.
I would be gladly to refund you your money. And immediately, because I was so because me and Rosa at the time too. Savious, you were there, remember?
Yeah.
At the time, we were so determined to figure out what was the cause of the cancellation, because we were gonna have our volunteer meeting that same day. So all the volunteers were gonna come. They were gonna learn how the layout of the event was gonna work out. And at that same moment, not 2 hours before we were supposed to meet the guy, we get the text message about getting the refund, and I wouldn't accept that. So the first thing I did was call the booking manager and tell him, is there any possible way that I can talk to the owner? Because we didn't know. We weren't aware of the situation. So if there's anything you want to ask, Rosa's looking for the text message, the exact words that was written to us about the cancellation of the event. But we called the owner, and the owner kind of goes, my hands is tied, there's nothing I can do. It's just like the strangest thing ever. And obsessed, I start doing my research and realizing, there's a lot of certifications that the building itself didn't have. Essentially, at the end of the day, the building was not itself was not safe, man. We went to the kitchen of the building, and of the thing where we were gonna do all the catering and everything ourselves. We budget every little thing to the decimal point. We go to the kitchen, and the kitchen was horrendous. And the entire time, and we're not talking about after we got the event canceled, beforehand, the booking manager, we're still in talks of getting it renovated. By the time your event happens, we should have it renovated. And I remember I was pestering him constantly. And at the same time, I didn't know that the booking manager was having a lover's quarrel with the owner of the event, of the venue, because apparently the booking manager was getting screwed over by the owner of the venue itself. I hope I'm not boring you guys. We came to, so eventually we go get the owner, talk to the owner, and I find out that it's a very, I can't say this without being derogatory. He was a Jew. So I put out all these papers around. I'm like, listen, I know your building is not up to code. I know this and this and that. Is there a way that we can work? I will run around and do what is necessary. I want this event to happen. And essentially, what ended up happening is me, personally, spending a lot of time at the Department of Buildings, pleading for them to give the proper certification so that I can have the event.
Okay, so
Hang on, Rosa found the text message.
So it said, sorry for the last minute notice. The owner has decided to hold any more events until he resolves the issue from a previous renter. The hall will be refunding your deposit.
And we didn't get that deposit about like 2 weeks after, right?
No, like a month.
A month after? Because at the end of the day, I was losing sleep. I was constantly tired. I was taking trips I couldn't afford back and forth from Brooklyn to the Bronx and over and over and over again. And for you guys that don't know, yes, Roselick Studios is located in the Bronx, or home based in the Bronx. Daquan is giving me the thumbs up sign for the shameless promotion of the borough.
Brooklyn.
So what ended up happening was we had to we on good faith and not being superhuman had to cancel the event.
Read that.
So that's basically the tale of right there. With how, and I was trimming the fat. I didn't even get seriously into detail. But the booking manager was very nice to us. He was actually taking a class action lawsuit along with all the other people who got kind of tricked out of their money by this individual who owns the building. And I have not heard about what was going on about it since. That was the last I heard. But yeah, that's the story of the release party itself. Before I talk about what's going on with what you got? Anything you guys want to add? Anything you want to respond to? Comment on the tale?
Oh, I gave him all the text messages that we had between the booking manager and us. So
As of right now, Mr. Black is looking through the text messages.
Should I continue reading or like?
no. I just showed you like the struggle that we went through.
This is ridiculous. It's like December 9th.
Mm-hmm. And then that the guy that owned the place put the booking manager's phone number online, and he had.
It's one of those things that I really didn't want to give too much detail. I just wanted people to understand why it got canceled. And to be honest, it was canceled because essentially the building that we rented was not safe. And we weren't thinking. We were thinking that this was a legitimate business that was operating a legitimate company.
And they didn't have their sprinklers running.
They didn't have a lot of their certifications.
And they didn't have account.
And yet nobody told me anything. And it wasn't the booking manager's fault because he was allying himself to the owner in an attempt to work out the permit situations and the certification situations. But again, things happen. Which was weird because when I had some of the documentation left over from when I went to the DOB, and I gave it to I handed it back over, and an African American lady comes to me, and I was like, I've been to that building a dozen times. I've never saw her before. There's no way she could have been his assistant because I met his assistant. It's like, how deep did this crazy network of mismanagement go?
Not only that, they didn't find anything wrong with the building when we first started looking it up. Everything was perfect.
Yeah, guys, you can comment. Feel free.
Oh, another thing, that building used to be only 2 floors, right?
It is 2 floors.
No, it used to be 5 floors, right?
What happened was, again, it's a lot of details that's not really prevalent. I'm just trying to stick to why the release party got canceled.
All right.
But yeah, what you guys think? Savious, nothing. Savious is like, I'm just happy to know the truth.
Well, I was there, so it was like you were like really upset about it. It's like one thing, it could have like tried to be like one just huge scam, because a lot of places do things like that, you know. Like it's just like a group of guys in all these different companies. It's like they get together for the sole purpose of wanting to scam someone.
Yeah, I heard about that, the big scam. I don't know if you heard about the flea market scam that happened out, I don't know if it was in Brooklyn, but apparently there was a lady that was giving away tables to a flea market that didn't exist. And then when all the patrons came, they got scammed out of their funds.
I mean, I guess it just relies on people have to check their sources, you know. They gotta like check the Better Business Bureau and see if people have been like.
Oh, we learned our lesson, and hints, there might be another event coming soon. But what's going on with is on hiatus. Not that was ever an actual series, but is in the back burner for right now. our daughter, right, Rosa?
Yeah.
Our daughter, me and Hero Lux's and Rose Lydia's daughter is gonna see her day in the sun one of these days. But we're just taking this time to meticulously work on all the little details of we really want it to be a great story that's both empowering to younger audiences and a great read for more mature audiences. We just, when we create, our goal in creating is to bring people into reading, into learning, into discovering new things that have not yet experienced that. So that's the deal with right now. All right. So let's get back on topic, guys. Whew. That took a lot out of me.
I started getting dizzy.
Huh? I'm saying the guys are noticing that I'm really out of it right now because that was a very heartfelt story. But Rosa, I have a question for you. Have you ever been around this many black guys in your life? Aside from high school.
I was about to say something really bad. But there's children listening, so I'm not gonna say that. But no.
There are no children. There are no children listening.
There's no children should be listening.
Get out the room. Just leave the building.
We share these on our Facebooks. There should be no children listening.
I don't want people to think I'm weird.
All right, we're going off subject. Okay, back to the subject. Digital versus traditional. The ultimate question, is it art? Now, where we last left off was something I completely forgot, so somebody has to refresh my memory. Because we got intense.
Someone should really rewind.
I don't have time to rewind. But essentially, what I think what we as a panel and all our consensus is that art really lies with the artist, regardless of the medium it takes place in, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, where are we when we're talking about art diminishing? Because a professor once told me that we believe that scientific developments just continue to elevate and elevate and elevate, when no, there are moments of stagnation and there's moments of decline. Now, is that true about with art? I mean, when does writing, and excuse my language again, when is writing dickhead on the wall, the epitome, it's epitome, it's a joke, the epitome of street art, when we have guys like Banksy and Larat and Tito Naru. Yeah, shout out to Tito Naru. I did that. I love that guy.
Where do people consider writing dickhead on the wall? I mean, like, I know, like,
you're going out. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're going out from graffiti versus vandalism.
Wait, hold up, no. Wait.
No.
Wait.
No.
Wait. You're not letting me finish.
Okay.
That's a totally different topic. Because look, I used to teach graffiti, man.
No, but there's a difference between graffiti and vandalism.
Alright.
He was gonna retort to the dickhead.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. But go ahead.
Yeah, the dickhead thing. It depends on how it's done. Like, first off, if I don't know, like a lot of the kids that you see getting up now, like, that's the generation after us. That's the new breed, I guess we should say. And like they're learning, but they just want to get up. They forgot that there's a process to it. It's just supposed to like practice in your book first. You take your book and you get fly, you get your styles up, you get nice and crazy, and then you premiere on the streets. Like,
now, you're saying if dickhead was a sort of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're saying if dickhead was a sort of kind of political driven message, or even if said graffiti artist takes time to say, this is gonna be my tag name, I'm gonna write dickhead on the wall, and I'm gonna make dickhead look like the prettiest thing ever, then we have we have at least something to venture forth and discuss. But is vulgarity, and yes, I'm just saying this for argument's sake, but is vulgarity considered art? Can we be vulgar and
Yes.
and expect development from vulgarity?
We certainly develop from vulgarity because we learn from those actions, you know. No matter what, like with every action we learn, you know, unless you're like just existing in space and like not interacting with anything, you know. But yeah, vulgarity is definitely an art.
I'm sorry, man, for putting that on
No,
you like
but
that.
that's where I'm coming from, because there's a difference between vandalism and having a weed paste on the wall. Like, vandalism is just those ugly looking words and just people just putting it together. Art, like graffiti is when you actually put effort in taking 5 spray cans and just writing a name and putting something beautiful around it.
Well, it could just be, but that's another thing. See, like there are levels to graph. You know, that's a throw up. If a writer puts his throw up, you know, it's just like that's my mini me. You know, like you're not ready for the beast yet. 'Cause, I mean, back in the '80s, they had plenty of throw ups like that too. It's just that the bigger pieces outshone, you know, those, and the bigger pieces were more apparent. Like, haven't you seen like pictures like the inside of train cars in the '80s? They had mostly nothing but throw ups, you know, because like, come on.
But that, do you consider that beautiful?
It can be. It depends. It depends on how it's done. It can
That's-
be beautiful.
It can be
It
beautiful.
can be beautiful. Like, I mean, at some point it could just be like, well, this just looks like cow manure, you know. It's a big fat pile of that. Or it could be something where like someone's obviously meticulous and they took their time to like subtly change the ink in each like I guess each time that they threw their throw up, you know, each time that they wrote the name, you know, and like they made a gradient from one side of the car to the other, or like, you know, like, yeah, it could totally be beautiful, and there are different interpretations of beautiful. Like, it's just what I came up with on the spot, you know, like it's whatevs, honestly.
So going back to the traditional versus digital, this is where I was coming up with. Weed paste is digital.
Well, I would say it'd be a form that utilizes digital,
Yeah.
but being digital itself is kind of the argument sake.
No, but the fact that you could print it out, make it into this huge banner, makes it digital. The fact that you're pasting it on a wall could make it traditional.
I believe Mr. Black is disagreeing with you at the moment.
Oh.
I saw him shaking his head. It just looked like he wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was actually just vibing to the beat. Since you like.
Well, I'm looking at you from over a computer. So.
No, actually, could you please continue?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that when you print it out from the computer, because we paste, technically you have to print it out and then paste it huge, but the thing is it takes so much effort to do it. But compared to either one takes effort to do it. The only problem is that I feel like with we paste, it's your artwork, but you have more people doing it with you. When you're doing tag ups, like nice tag ups, you're doing it by yourself.
Some people have done repasting by themselves. There are other street artists that do it on
Are we?
strips.
Hang on.
It still counts as digital versus traditional.
No. I'm not disagreeing with anybody. I'm just bringing up the Mr. Brainwash phenomenon. The Mr.
Oh
Brainwash.
my God, I despise
Not phenomenon,
him.
but like I guess because it didn't become a phenomenon. It more evolved into kind of like a.
I despise him.
Just making like
A derivative of
nonsense.
thinking.
not only was he making pop, he was stealing for other artists and just basically photoshopping his own thing into it, and then calling it
price of his guitar.
You know what's crazy about that though? Like that. This is the same argument that I have in like music a lot with like sampling. You know, like a lot of people are like, well, you know, sampling. That's not art. But all we do is sample. Honestly, if you get down to the core of it, like we all you know, we're products of our environment. So like, if you watch a lot of anime and you decide one day that you're gonna draw, and you happen to draw anime characters that look like Goku kinda, it's because you've been watching a lot. You know,
but here's the thing. Here goes
no,
back.
No.
Oh,
You gotta no, you can't get in this.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
You see, Savious, we can't even add to the conversation. We got
They're not
pushed aside.
watching. In my opinion, they're not watching a lot of anime if they have the same style of drawing as Goku. To me, it seems like they only seen that anime all the time, over 3,000 times, and they take
and not to interrupt you,
they adapt from that type of artwork.
Yeah, she won't let me interrupt.
They adapt from that type of artwork, and to me, it's ridiculous because there's more than just Goku, One Piece, and all the big ones out there.
Of course, yes, definitely.
And I get offended when people say, "Oh, I'm an anime fan," but you only know one type of animation.
What angers me when people say that they're anime fans is when they've only seen not one type of animation, but one genre of anime.
Oh no, and
that's what I mean.
And I agree with both of you guys. But I'm back to the Akira Toriyama thing.
Oh boy, let me start on the Toriyama.
Toriyama.
The thing about it is that Toriyama did interesting things with his work, to the point where he garnered so much popularity that he's even sick of hearing his own name. I don't know if you read this, like he's joining the ranks of Miyazaki, and I think not Oda but somebody else in this kind of like anti-otaku coalition.
Well, because he's just a guy. Like he wants to hang out, and like everyone's like, we want more Dragon Ball Z. He's like, look, if you know how manga work in Japan, you know, with the questionnaires and whatnot, he didn't want to do Dragon Ball Z after a while. He, you know, the life of the thing is pretty much. Come on, how long have we had Dragon Ball Z out here?
Yeah.
If he were to make another action series, I'd like to see it from, you know. And the guy doesn't like.
He tried
action.
it with Blue Dragon.
He likes. Yeah, but
he did other video games too.
He did do a lot of video games, but he doesn't like action. He likes fantasy and comedy, and like a lot. I don't know. I feel like a lot of his work is very self-referential. You know, I have an Akira Toriyama art book actually, and this one, you know, he's like there's this wolf character with like a motorcycle, and I've seen pictures of or drawings of Toriyama himself on motorcycles, and I was like, oh wow, you know, yeah, you know how manga could draw the little image of themselves drawing and stuff.
But no, and here's the thing. It's interesting you bring that up. I'm going to cut you off, but when I think creators that are gearheads, first thing that comes up is George freaking Lucas.
George Lucas.
Because George Lucas, when he started off as one of the film brats, for those of you who don't know what the film brats are, and I'm sorry, I'm a movie buff, is Zemeckis, who did Back to the Future, Lucas, obviously Star Wars, Steven Spielberg, who did E.T. and Poltergeist and a bunch of other stuff. Can never remember the last one. I want to say Scorsese, but I don't think it's Scorsese. But there's four guys who devastated the film industry because they were these preppy film dudes. And the reason I bring to double back, not to get too fast, but not to get too far on topic. The reason I bring this up is because when we're talking about art versus digital, George Lucas has done the best to make original universes, all by, and I'm gonna call them blatant rip-offs because he does it while ripping off these really classic forms of genre, because a lot of his stuff, for people that don't know, came from Kurosawa. Kurosawa was a huge influence on Lucas.
Of course, it was amazing.
And a lot of westerns too. And it's weird because Toriyama was influenced by, Kurosawa was influenced by old school westerns, and then we get Seven Samurais, and then it spins off into Magnificent Seven. So, again, with this constantly borrowing of intellectual property.
It's also the same thing with Samurai Jack.
Oh, because Samurai Jack was kind of a steal from Frank Miller's Ronin, which was a rip from. Was it Yojimbo? I don't want to say Yojimbo. It was. I'm not gonna. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't Zatoichi. I'm pretty sure it was Yojimbo. But it's weird because and again, getting back on Lucas, is that the weird thing with Lucas is that he kind of started that anti-film mentality. If you guys didn't know, he shot episode 1, starting from episode 1, 2, 3 on digital cameras, and then all of a sudden the entire industry was going ballistic. You can't shoot it on digital cameras. But to be honest, that was probably some of his, to be argued, but some of his most inspired work. I like episode 1, 2. Well, I hated Anakin.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
But okay, again, it's weird because even in the film industry nowadays, it's almost like, well, it's not. If it's not shot on film, it's not. If it's not shot on film, it's not a film. Or at least that's what the older generation is trying to plug into our heads. If I'm not shooting in 36 mil, if I'm not shooting in 16 mil, if I'm not shooting in 8 mil, I'm not making a movie. But yet we have cameras now that surpass the expectations of even meeting up to the standards that film has made. But isn't that itself a digital art form? I mean, we got to the point where we're not even chopping and screwing analog footage. We're freaking editing on Final Cut. So in the argument of art, digital, traditional, I mean, with outlets like that, what do you guys say about that?
To me, to be honest, when I'm editing, because I like editing, I don't feel the same when I'm drawing on a computer.
She likes editing. Hint, hint.
When I'm editing, I don't feel the same way as like when I'm drawing on a computer. To me, I feel like editing is more of a personal thing. I don't know why. It doesn't. To me, it just feels different when I'm editing. It's probably because I never really cut real film by hand. I would probably feel different about it while editing it on the computer. But I think that's just me.
Well, it sounds like the same exact. I mean, it is the same exact. The digital versus traditional. Right? But yeah, I dig it. What's going on?
You should show him too, because he was talking about abstract.
Oh yeah. Come around for a second. I'm just taking a brief break, but I'm gonna show these guys something that we're currently working on that we will tell you in the future, just when the time is right, guys.
You were talking about abstract.
All right. Let's take a break. Let's move on to another segment, guys. Our friend here, Savious, has been itching to get to this point.
No, I wasn't itching.
He was enjoying the ride.
I'm along for the ride, you know. It's just a little fun.
Hang on just a second, guys.
It's gonna get graphic.
It's gonna get graphic.
Kids should not be hearing this.
18 plus, yo.
Oh, you have to put your headphones on because of this one.
No, wrong song, wrong song, wrong song. That's not even the right song. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. No, that's not even it either. I apologize, guys.
These beats.
That's
though.
our break music too, apparently.
These beats, though.
I'm letting you guys hear everything. Let's just go back to the pop topic music for a moment. Let you guys mellow out to that while I'm finding out what happened with Savious's track. Well, if you guys haven't added us yet, for those of you listening, you can add us on facebook.com/RoseLuxOfficial. You can add us on our Tumblr at roseluxstudios.tumblr.com, as well as our Twitter. We just revitalized our Twitter. Twitter.com/RoseLuxStudios.
Rose Lux. Well, while we're waiting for that, how did the name Rose Lux come to be?
Oh, that's an simple answer. Look at us, Rose Lux. More difficult, kind of complex answer. It was.
We were playing around with names.
Yeah, we were coming up with.
We were throwing each other names.
That was one of them, and then we just kind of went off from there. It's not a huge. Like it's not a complex answer in all honesty. Like our work is more complex. The stuff that we work on is more complex than the name of our company, to figure out the company name. It's what the company name means, more or less.
Just so you guys know, I didn't like the name at first.
Why not?
To me, it wasn't catchy. But then
When we started doing conventions.
Yeah, not only conventions, because even the first convention, I was like, what the flippin' hell are we doing? Like, my first convention, I hated and liked it at the same time. It was fun, but I was just too shy to talk to people. So I was behind the table and I was like,
What convention was it?
hi.
Springfest.
Springfest,
Oh.
2011.
Year 2. Yeah.
Oh, 2011?
It wasn't year 2, that was year 8, I think.
Year 8 of Springfest?
Yeah.
Yeah, this year was like year 10.
Yeah. So I was behind the table and I just kept staring at people like. So, and you know what's so weird? That first year was when we actually had 3 people behind the table, and it was actually really smooth. It's actually better than just 2 people, cause.
Well, it's always better to have more hands.
It's not even that. It's just you have the writer, you have the artist, and then you have that extra person that can hold the table when
That's the
2
thing.
people are eating.
Nobody has. Oh, I forgot to mention on the update. Nobody's noticed that my writing prowess as of yet. But then I did just release the yaoi with Nowcat. As far as we still have a few of the
Copies.
yaoi available for print, and yes, I am a straight individual who likes to write homoerotic fantasies.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask him this question. I've been to conventions with him to know this. A lot of people ask him this question.
Oh,
Seriously.
if I'm gay?
Yes. Yes. People just like when they're 18 or over, they come to our table and are like, "Are you a homosexual? Or do you like swing that way?"
And I just tell them, no, I'm a writer. I
No,
experiment. I don't stay in any one genre.
Actually,
I don't care. I don't care if that genre has to do with cowboy butt sex or
Cowboy?
that's the code word we use in the studio. I apologize for anybody who's offended by that. But if that revolves around cowboy butt sex, or if I'm revolving around 2 women who are in love, writing a romantic story it's pretty much the same formula, regardless of the genders that are involved. At least in my experience, and that's what I'm having fun with playing around. Like if Liver Rouge picks up the popularity that I really want it to, Liver Rouge being the name of the comic.
Talk is Cheap is just the first chapter.
Yeah, Talk is Cheap is the first issue that we just released. If Liver Rouge picks up the popularity that I want it to, and with Nowcat at the helm, her art is really it's really good. Like I've watched her develop even as I'm seeing the second volume, the second issue of the comic come out, and if it develops the way I want, I'm gonna be playing with a lot of elements and a lot of ways in which relationships, be it homosexual, straight. Yeah, we have some straight sex in there too, a little bit. Just interact. A love triangle at the end of the day is a love triangle. But enough about work.
Yeah, shut up. Savious was gonna say something.
I actually have something to say about the whole
Oh, you read
yaoi.
it, didn't you?
Huh?
You read a yaoi, didn't you?
I don't believe I have.
Oh, it's not a problem.
But
I'll shoot you a copy later.
But there's actually like statistics on the yaoi fan base, and 5% of the yaoi fan base are straight males, and I'm proud to say that I am one of them.
High five.
I have to say something. Did you guys know that shotas are actually made for male audiences?
Shotas?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
We're talking about prepubescent little boys.
Shotas are made, like any guy that cross dresses is made for men.
Oh.
If you guys did not know that. A lot of men don't know this.
Isn't that with the
men.
bishi thing too?
Super didn't know that because
The bishi kind of craze too, and the traps.
Yes, the traps.
I know
That's definitely for men.
traps was made for
men. Yes, cross dressing too is also made for men.
To be honest, there's just some really good storytelling in some of those comics.
It really is though.
As a straight man, I love traps.
At the end of the day, if you want to develop creatively, if you want to develop as a human being, as a person, if you want to get all the information you can possibly feed yourself in this lifetime, do not discriminate against what you read. Read everything.
Just so you know, I do have a favorite yaoi manga. Believe it or not, I actually do. I forgot her name. It's Ko.
Just say the name.
No, it's
the
Ko.
Manga.
Well, I don't know the English version. I don't know the Japanese because they changed it. It's different translations.
Oh, because Yen Press.
Yeah, no. June took it.
June Press.
June Press.
Well, anyway, that's enough about us talking. Savious, are you ready?
I'm always ready. I'm always ready.
Found it?
This is a little segment we like to call
Hentai Logic. Hentai Logic.
twice, just in case somebody missed that. Take it away, Savious.
Hentai Logic. So Hero had actually came up with this, and when he asked me about it, I thought of it as a good idea. So I compiled a list of this hentai logic. Now
just all the things that are prevalent in hentai, like
Oh, you guys forgot something. You have to give the definition of hentai for people that don't know what it is.
So let's Google this for a second. Let's give the Google definition.
Where did that go to Google?
Well, hentai honestly is just the Japanese word for pervert, being perverse. And
Well, I mean, it depends on how deep you get into the.
yeah, you can go even deeper than that, but
Yeah,
I'm American.
Yeah. Hentai is a subgenre of Japanese genres of manga and anime characterized by overly sexualized character and sexually explicit images and plots.
Plot.
Plot.
Quotes.
Which is why Hentai Logic was born.
Hentai logic.
So
But-
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Is there any I don't know, did they ever say who dubbed that genre of porn hentai? Because you're just saying the word doesn't mean pervert, in Japanese.
I have no clue on.
You see, the way I heard it, the way I understand it, but the thing about it is that with all the synonyms in Japanese culture, the way I heard it was hentai did kind of deviate into becoming pervert, but the original meaning for hentai was metamorphosis, a person who changes. So I was intrigued when I heard that, like when I was doing my research. What?
I'm totally a hentai. Double entendre.
So I guess, and the thing about it with Japanese culture, I guess the idea is that perverts are going into a metamorphosis regardless of the fact of change, regardless of the fact that it's good or bad, it's still there. So I guess after the while it just became, hey, you're a hentai, you're a perv, stop touching my butt. So Savious, take it away.
So takeaway first, what I like to do when I talk about hentai is I like to actually like announce how I became the hentai guy. And this is a very interesting story because it happened when I was about maybe 12 or 13. Way too young for this stuff. So the first time I've ever came across hentai, it was Buddah Black, the game. Not the actual hentai, Buddah Black, the game. A bunch of friends of mine, because I'm the youngest in my area. Well, I was the youngest in my area, so everyone was older than me. Like, but I wasn't into like sports and all that other stuff, so I actually like ventured off a little bit further from my area. And at the library, these guys are like 5-6 years older than me, but they were cool anyway. So I'm playing this visual novel for the very first time, and it's all this sexual content in it, and then boom, a woman grows a penis. I'm like, what?
I don't mean to cut you off. My first experience with a game like that was Devi Dead for DC.
Oh my god.
But continue. That's a story for another time.
But I'm playing this game, and then
hang on, just for the record. This is a message for our financial director. Do not play Devi Dead. No.
You can. It is awesome.
Have you guys ever played Exchange?
I want to play.
That was my first H game.
But
I never touched the PC game.
Yes, you did.
No, I never touched the
A H game?
No.
We should have an H game party.
Right, we can actually do this right after this. I have Buddah Black on my external hard drive in my bag right now.
Well, we'll see, because by the time we get out of here, it's gonna be late. We'll continue.
But when I'm playing this game, I got this ending where I died, and then like the story of Buddah Black just intrigued me so much, so I actually did research on it, and then found out like the video based on the game was released, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, what is this called? I had no clue on what this was called, and a friend of mine told me like it's hentai, and I was like, okay. So what every person does when they find out something new, they Google it.
Or what we used to do. Kids nowadays don't really. Well, in my opinion, I don't mean to cut you off. Again, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible host. But in my opinion, I feel like kids can care less of where it came from. Because when I was a kid, we wanted to learn everything about everything.
I was a bookworm when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it was books and
too.
Pokemon for me. And then I found hentai, and then my life changed completely. So I just started watching hentai and all this other stuff, and I just kept watching and watching and watching, and then it was like, I don't know, like the plot intrigues me, a lot of it, but sometimes I just watch it for like the artwork. Cause my girlfriend knows this, like nowadays I fall asleep watching hentai. It was like, how can you fall asleep with all the moaning and the screaming in your ear? It's like, I don't know.
It's melodic.
It's like, so now we can actually go back.
The idea of a prepubescent teenager being anally raped by tentacles is so like, it's like angels singing in my ear. It's an entire church choir.
This isn't actually on my list, but of Hentai Logic, but if they appear younger, their age is X. They actually don't announce the ages of anyone that appears younger than 17 of legal age. their age is just X. That's why in hentais nowadays they don't even announce the ages at all. They'll say, "Oh, you're my senpai, you're my kohai. He's older than me by a year or two."
Buddah. We grew up in the days when they didn't censor the ages. They told us clear, in broad daylight. And the thing about it that I love, the weirdest thing that I love about like reading kind of like hentai comic books or Japanese porn comic books is that they'll always do this thing. We all know we're not idiots. They always do this thing where it's like, oh, I don't like the fact that you're in this junior high. Asterisk. I think the translator meant high school.
But onto the hentai, like hentai logic being in quotation marks. You know, I have these 15 points of hentai logic that I find amusing. Number 1 on the list is, in hentai, your hips move on your own. Your hips move on your own. During like every sex scene I ever watched, the woman is always saying her hips are moving on her own, or moving on their own. How are your hips moving on their own?
Rosa.
Well, since you're the only female here, do your hips move on their own during sex?
And kids, this is a good time for you to leave the room if you are watching this.
So she's having a spasm.
The way they make it sound in hentai, she's having a seizure.
It's not during an orgasm
No.
or anything.
So her legs are having spasms of moving on their own.
It's like, okay, how are your hips moving on your own? Like, honestly, you could, what is it, Tourette's, where your body moves involuntarily? It's like, if that's the case, like everyone, or that too, like everyone in like Japan, they think like women have Tourette's like during sex. Is like, can your hips really move on your own?
I just want to. I'm terrible at this, but I just want to elaborate for a moment. I just want to clarify. In the universe in which hentai takes place, because let's be honest, it's not our reality. Thank you, Mr. Financial Director. You could go back to the shadows where you came from. In the universe where hentai takes place, you're telling me that every woman in said universe suffers from A, unpredictable seizures, or B, just involuntary Tourette's. And this is the explanation as to why women in hentai hips move on their own.
Yes.
And it's always during sex. You ever notice that?
It's only during sex. It's not like, oh, she hears a music beat and like your body just moves to the music, because that happens to a lot of people. They just feel the music. It's like, but are you so entwined into the sex that your hips move on their own? It's like, because honestly, they're usually on top when they're saying this. Is like when a female is on top, she's usually doing most of the movement. So it was like she's controlling her body at her own pace. It's like, so how are your hips moving on their own?
So I'm actually glad you actually brought the fact that she was on top. You don't know if there's a spirit behind her, like moving her up and down, like just.
Well, that's I've actually read a couple of hentais where that was actually the case. In fact, so the third thing that we've discovered, through our brief examination of the first of Savious's 15 hentai points, is that A, it's either involuntary seizures, B, unpredictable spasms, or Tourette's, and C, poltergeist.
What about D? An orgasm?
See, now there are actually a few where women are possessed by ghosts, but the ghost has full form and like has full control of the body to the point like their voices are different. Like they make it known that yes, this woman is possessed by me,
and I am the mother effing devil.
And while I'm in this body, I'm gonna screw as many men as I want.
Wow, you just brought back some very vivid memories. When are you gonna do the F3 edition of Hentai Logic?
Okay.
For those of you that don't know what F3 is, it's frantic, frustrated female. You remember that one?
Oh. Sounds like a good dip.
It was a great hentai. I would love. I can't wait till you cover that one. Continue. So number two.
Now this is.
I love this segment. We're
This
gonna keep
happens
this one.
all the time. Penises fit regardless of the size.
And we lost Rosa.
Now I'm gonna bring.
Wait. Can I say something about this?
Go
Why
ahead.
does every female say, "Oh my God, it's so huge" in every hentai?
You know what? I have a theory on that, and I'm not sure about you, Savious. But I believe
Cody has something to say.
that that's. Wait, but let's start it first. Hang on. I believe that the reason that happens is for the female readers of said hentai. That's my thing. Because there's no way that me as a guy really cares about. Well, me personally as a occasional reader of hentai cares about the size of the man's genitalia. In all honesty, I'm looking there for the gratuitous nude butt shots and enormously, ridiculously large breast, and how this woman is going to be violated beyond her wildest dreams. Aside from that, where does his man part comes into play? His penis.
So I actually put like a side note for this note. It's this one I showed that I showed this hentai recently. It's called.
For those of you that don't know, Savious does do hentai. Hentai panels at a few conventions in New York City, and yes, he is available for invite.
So at Springfest this year, I showed this one called Koro Inu. The name is like obscenely long, so I'm just gonna call it Koro Inu for short. Where it was the third episode. This chick was a lolly, and she was some type of elf link thing, and she looked like she was like maybe she had the height of like a 5 or 6 year old, and this huge monster just like picked her up and like penetrated her to the point like you saw his penis in her stomach. So
Was that the one that you had a majority of the people just
yes,
up and leave?
It happens a lot during my panels because it has to happen like sometime like
My
at
question,
one point.
I never understand, and we've had this discussion a few times, in where we've said, what do they expect when they go to a hentai panel? That you're just gonna show vanilla stuff all day?
It's like I've actually been to other hentai panels even before I started doing my own. I actually watched hentai panels, and like they mostly show like the older stuff where it's like uncensored, and like I don't mind that it's uncensored, but I kind of like the newer artwork a little bit better. But then but the older ones had better story. The plot was actually there. The penises weren't ginormous. All the MILFs were lonely.
Oh man, I remember those days when my MILFs were loaning in hentai. I wonder what happened to those days.
Nowadays, all the MILFs being lonely, they turn into NTRs instead of just being with others.
I see what you mean.
What the hell is NTR?
Not so rare.
When your lover just gets stripped right out of your hands, it's like you're not doing something wrong, but you're not doing something to change it. So your lover changed it herself, and she just went to this other guy. I'm gonna actually bring up that point a lot later. Well, not a lot later, But yeah,
Should we Google search this? Let's see what Google has to say about nectar. Continue.
but
Hang on a second before you continue. I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt again. I'm always interrupting.
that's like the
My
first
show.
time.
No, it's like 100th time. Buddha, you wanted to say something.
With the large penis thing.
Okay.
The like
I'm totally focused on this now. You wanna sleep that? Let's bury that. Don't worry about it. It's one with
You just was so a vastly
He's
blown
processing
away.
it.
You didn't understand how far fetched we were gonna get.
oh, I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
I despise vanilla. Vanilla
Me too.
is everywhere. It's so freaking annoying.
Rose's confession of the day.
Why? Why is there much vanilla everywhere? Why
It's
is there
like
vanilla scanlations? They should not exist.
Like, little do people know that Buddah Black is a vanilla as well.
It is, but the thing is, there's much more than just vanilla.
What do you mean? What is what?
Vanilla. Okay, let me explain what vanilla is. Vanilla is when guy, girl is in love with each other, and then they have sex, and it's all lovey-dovey and crap and bullshit.
Oh, you mean sexually? Okay, yeah, like.
It's a very it's heavily on romance.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
crap.
But okay.
I'm sorry to say this, but this is gonna be my quote of the day. ¿Qué mierda es esa? I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, what's that shit?
But to define netareo, according to Google, cluckhold historically referred to a husband with an adulterous wife, and is still often used with this meaning. In evolutionary biology, the term cluckhold also applies to male who are unwillingly invested in parental effort in offsprings that are not genetically their own. Interesting.
That's not weird.
Okay.
I like the first definition better.
Yeah. I'm with the first.
Loves me some Google. Let's move on to number 3.
Number 3.
I feel like freaking what's that guy's name? Dave Letterman right now. Savious's top 10 Hentai Logic.
No means yes. No
Oh, yeah.
means yes.
For
No, don't.
For those of you that cannot see at home, our financial director, lurking in the shadows still, just gave the okay for rape.
Now,
So just for everybody to know, he says
speaking
rape
of
is
rape,
okay.
no means yes leads to number 4.
Now he's giving me. I'm sorry. He's giving me the knife hand. He said, "No, I did not say that. But should I be in a situation where I feel it was necessary? Maybe."
No means yes leads to number 4.
Number 4.
If you rape her long enough, it won't be rape anymore. Now, in hentai, women are raped often to the point where
They have the
They
mind
come-
break.
it's the mind break, and they become dependent on the sex, and they turn to enjoy it. And this usually happens when like women are having sex with like former lovers and all this
Tentacles.
I think
Tentacles,
I think I
yes.
laughed so hard I broke an eye vessel. Ow. That was
It's
loud.
like, oh, you know, a guy's telling her how much her body loves it, then she starts to believe it, to the point like, if you ever really like paid attention to the hentai where she's just talking to herself, and she's like, oh no.
Oh, in her mind.
In her mind, she's talking to herself saying, my body loves this. I don't really enjoy it. I'm starting to enjoy it. I can't believe I'm enjoying this. It evolves into that. And then
Yeah, try that excuse in a court of law in the United States. But I started to like it. Halfway through,
There's like,
at first it was rape, but then at halfway through I wasn't sure. But at the end I was pretty sure it was rape.
No. It's like, pretty sure it was consensual. That's the last thought they think.
Did you say yes?
Yeah, basically.
eventually the woman does say yes.
That's what I'm saying. So the last one is like, I consented.
It was like 50 no's and a yes means yes.
So does that make rape okay?
For everybody who can't see, again, I'm trying to be a visual interpreter of what's going on. Buddha is flushed. What number are we already?
That's number 4.
We're on number 4.
Of 15.
And he's sweating bullets.
He popped him out. He's sweating.
I thought I had to be embarrassed. I'm the only female here.
Number. Continue.
It's number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
On the topic of rape, you know, cops do not exist in hentai.
It's true. It's true.
There is no such thing as calling for help.
Oh wait, you forgot something. If they do hear that you're calling for help,
They'll watch or join in.
or they wait until the other person leaves so they can have vanilla.
Well, in my experience with hentai is cops usually are the bad guys, so. You're a cop, most likely you're gonna end up.
Actually, that's different for different hentai.
The cops don't exist or the cops are women themselves.
Yes, that's the one I was gonna say.
It's been a few hentais where the cops were women and they themselves were getting raped.
Yep.
Until the mind break happens, then they start to love it.
I love me some mind break. Number 6.
This happens a lot, and I've noticed this. It usually happens in a lot of vanilla or usually incest category. The quote, "It can't be helped," is a reasonable excuse to have sex. This is usually happening like in the mother and son incest stories, or just like it happens with teachers. It's like, oh, your boner is my fault, so I'm gonna have sex with you.
On that note,
wait, how about the best one? Oh, since you caused me the boner, I have to use you to take it away.
It's like, since it can't be helped, but because of that, it's like because of that, I'm gonna skip a little bit to a point I noted later, number 14, which is getting caught while fapping will get you laid.
Or watching porn will get you laid.
Getting caught fapping or watching porn will get you laid in hentai. It doesn't happen in real life.
It doesn't.
yeah, I was about to say not to you.
No.
They're still waiting for that one to kick in.
Wait. In real life, if your mom calls you fapping, she's either gonna do one of two things: slap you upside the head and tell you what the fuck you doing, or 2, she just close the fucking door. Like, no,
It was like, oh,
I didn't see that.
I'm sorry.
I was talking about like at a friend's house getting caught fat. Yeah.
That's a horrible image for me.
Now,
You have anything to add, Save?
Sorry,
It's
that's
not that. I never caught someone fapping. I've caught friends having sex. It's like that's pretty much it. It's like sex is just like a general thing for me now. Like the points I've seen sex like almost everywhere I go.
Is this confessions or is this like?
These are my. It's like Usher confessions.
Why not both?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back into number 7.
Number 7.
In hentai, anal is easy.
No lubrication.
No lube whatsoever.
Why can't it be like that in real life?
Anal is not easy. Whether you're, I don't know what happened here just now. I think we're having a little too much fun.
For those of you
Your face is red.
at home, I think I just repressed the thought. What did you just say? Mr. May said something that altered my perspective on everything. What did you just say?
So why anal can't be easy in real life?
Like honestly, I agree with you. It's like anal sex is kind of the thing now. to the point where like
In hentai or in real life?
Real life.
Okay.
to the point where like 40% of sexually active people are doing anal.
And virgins.
And virgins, it's like virgins do anal more often so they can keep their virginity, which for some reason your
And-
virginity is keeping like your vagina unpenetrated. It's
Oh.
like, which I don't get.
And to not get pregnant. Because, you know, you can't get pregnant during anal.
Or you can't get pregnant during anal sex.
But you know, when
Wait,
I'm not
can
gonna
you?
It's not
It's rare.
from the semen.
It's rare.
This isn't a sex ed class. Get to number
Yeah,
8.
but okay, wait. Let me tell you. Yes, you can. Yes, a woman can because there's no such thing as 99. There's no such thing as 100% safe sex. But exactly. But there's a rare condition that a woman can get pregnant by having
Okay.
anal.
So,
But can women without that condition get pregnant during anal sex?
Any woman can get it, but it's rare. Any woman can get pregnant, it's rare.
So what you're saying is guys aren't even safe from anal sex to get a woman pregnant.
Yup.
That is some shit.
so stay strapped, folks.
Which is interesting because of my new project, but I'll save that for later.
Okay. So number 8.
Number 8.
Women will this goes back to number 4. If you get raped long enough, it won't be rape anymore. When women get raped, they start to enjoy it, but I'm gonna actually say women will continuously cheat after being raped. And this is common in the NTR genre.
And also, I want to go on the limb. The MILF genre kind of, they're NTR, but I will also say a lot of teenage girls. I've read a lot of ones where teenage girls are in that predicament. Like it's just
with older men.
yeah.
All right, just so you know, that also goes with men. If men get raped by like a few girls, he tends to be cheating on them. School days.
Now, school days.
She pulled the school days out of the snap.
School days.
I gotta go pee.
Continue.
So she brought up school days. Now, I've watched School Days, and School Days was just like a lesson learned to not cheat or don't be around the bush and just break off a relationship entirely.
Or if you want to be literal about school days, don't get the wrong ending in the game.
I played the game. Oh my god, no, never again. I'm not even gonna try to get all the endings of the game. But it's like School Days is pretty much don't cheat. It's like the main character, he had a girlfriend, she was shy, she wasn't really open about sex, but he wanted to push her into sex, and it's like since she wasn't giving it up, he went to another girl that actually liked him. So
His best friend, in fact.
he had sex with her, and then all of a sudden, like all the other girls, like he knew, was like, I wonder how sex is with him. So these 3 girls actually had like a foursome with him, and it was like once his best friend announced she was pregnant, like all the women stopped just messing around with him because he's like, oh my god, he's fertile. No, I don't want to get pregnant. And to the point where he never broke off the relationship with his initial girlfriend. In her mind, they were still dating.
And let's not ruin the ending of the anime.
Okay.
If you kids want to watch School Days, watch School Days. What I will say though, have you checked out the special edition they released of the video game?
The video game.
A few more alternative endings. Actually, really intense stuff, man.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
So where we at? Number what?
Number 9.
Number 9.
I missed it.
And number 9, in hentai, there are no heroes.
Unless your name is H-Man. So yeah, hentai comment. Oh, Rape Man.
See, now, Rape Man is a different story. He raped in the name of justice. So he was committing a crime.
Sounds like our financial director's day job.
He was he's committing a crime while teaching women a lesson, and that goes like back into like. It's like that goes back to like the religious boom when like you killed in the name of God. That's exactly what Rape Man was.
That's like the Crusades.
Exactly. When people killed in the name of God, he raped in the name of justice. So, like a woman was in Rape Man. I think like one of the first segments, like a woman was cheating on her husband. So he called the Rape Man and he raped her to teach her a lesson. And like another one of the segments is that she was robbing jewelry stores and stuff. So he raped her to teach her a lesson. It's like, how is rape teaching her a lesson?
Where is he in Sailor Moon?
It teaches them don't get raped.
What are you talking about? When he was in Sailor Moon, he didn't know he was Rape Man yet. I'm of course speaking of the infallible Tuxedo Mask. Mr. Black here.
Useless.
Buddah Black right now is smiling. He's like, you know what? You do
like
make a point.
He had a harem.
Disturbing point.
He had a harem.
It's like, where's my childhood going?
Not even, man.
But then again, you get the hentai comment scenarios.
Of course.
Oh, you are right in regards, but then you'll get occasionally you'll get a Dino Ranger too. They were heroes, right? Technically.
I guess. It was like,
So that one is it has its exceptions, but
Yeah.
it's still an impenetrable rule nonetheless.
now number 10.
Insufferable, more or less.
Number 10 gets to me a lot.
Oh snap!
Tentacles can enter the human body through the vagina or anally and come out the mouth without killing a woman. No matter if it's penetration through the vagina or the ass, it will come out through the mouth and the woman will still be alive. Like there are like no internal organs in that woman.
In all honesty, you're just reading off a list of all the things I question when I have my lonely nights.
Anybody forgot like when the tentacles like come in her, it actually comes out like through the nose and the mouth.
It's great.
They go bubble up in this.
That's disturbing.
They get
And
bubble.
then it's moving while it's like in her stomach and she's like, I can feel it in my stomach. How are you alive feeling something like that in your stomach? It was like, you could say it feels like it's in your stomach, but don't say you can feel it in your stomach.
She's giving birth to tentacle babies.
We're on 11, right?
All right, number 11.
Hang on, before we move on. I will say that's been a derivative of Japanese art for generations.
It has been.
Yeah, man.
Is that it was
There's
actually,
water painting.
It actually was a painting, back in the feudal Japan. What happened was it was like you saw it, right?
Yeah,
it was
I
a
remember.
joke.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was a
To me, I consider that yeah, it was a block print.
yeah,
but, it's
but
also,
it was a joke for adults.
It's also what I consider one of the first mangas, because what it is, if you know manga, and I'm not talking about it as a comic book form, but as the origin of the term itself, irresponsible pictures.
Yep.
So manga means irresponsible pictures, and the first mangakas were probably retired samurais who didn't want to go into politics, that felt that they can have more fun drawing dirty pictures and selling them. So
Sounds like an idea.
or just for fun, either way. Number 11.
Number 11.
You know what's funny? I'm sorry to cut you off. It's the fact that we're
We're getting to
teaching,
number 11.
No, it's not that. It's that the fact that we're teaching them that they didn't even know about. All right, go ahead.
We're giving them lessons on Hentai Logic. You're actually learning stuff out there, people. Okay, number 11.
Hang on. I don't mean to say. Continue. It's just he said the word, so we gotta plug this one more time.
Hentai Logic.
Okay, number 11. train cars are populated by men and women 5-1. If you ever seen, like, especially when the trains are the main scenes for the hentai, there's majority men in there, and it's usually maybe like 1 or 2 women in the train car, and those hentais, they do get like groped.
I have to say something. How come the other women aren't helping her? There's no heroes.
There are no heroes. And then it was this one
Rule of thumb of hentai: if you want to be the hero, expect to be the next victim.
it was this one hentai that I found like hilarious, because it was a train. This woman was on a train, and this guy started like molesting her. And when she actually like stopped, and she like actually for once she actually like turned around and slapped him, and he was like, "Oh, I can do this," because it was like so few people in the train car, and people were watching, and he was like, "Why are you doing this like so publicly? Like usually it's like a crowded train." He was like, "Oh, I have this," and thus the name of the hentai is Chikan no license, which translates to rape license. He had a license to rape. This man had a license to rape.
You realize if people come back to this, right, and that little blurb in the background, I wish I had that license. It's gonna come back to you, Mr. Financial Director. Do you understand that?
It's like, and not only did he have this license, it's that he was able to pass on the, authority of the license to other guys he felt he wanted to have it.
Hang on.
So
not only did he take the time to go to his local city hall, pay probably what was the fee the application fee for said license. He had the nerve to go to said city hall and say, "I want a license to rape." And then city hall tells him,
Sure.
said rape license is actually transferable.
Not that it was transferable. He can just say, "Hey, I'm raping this girl. Do you want to rape her? You can do it too."
Wait.
So in other words, he let the team hit too?
He deputized rapist.
I can finally say it now. They gave her a bukkake.
And that's usually what happens in train scenes with just one woman. It happens.
Wow, I did not expect this to get that far.
But
continue.
But in the train scenes, it's usually like groping, and then the groping usually leads to the penetration, and like the woman never calls rape. It's a train crowded with people, and like they're usually against like the door of the train, so no one's really paying attention. But like no one like just scream, and she's like, "Oh, I want to scream, but I can't." Like, why are you saying that to yourself? It's like, just scream. And then there was this one hentai that I watched that really just blew my mind, because it's never been done before.
Not often.
No, I from what I've seen, it hasn't been done. Now there's this hentai it's a hentai series called Street Jindo, and those who watched it often is like they like this hentai. So now
It's not lolly, is it?
No, it's not lolly at all.
All right.
But it's this one scene where this guy he's just observing everything in the train, and like apparently the train gets crowded, and he moves to a different part of the train where like there's no one. It's like the space in between like train cars. So there's this girl in there too, and apparently she observes it too. So she gave him this test. It's like, answer the questions right, and I'll give you a reward for the questions.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
That is one of the classics.
Yep.
So
That's Midnight Train.
Just for the record, that wasn't Midnight Train.
That wasn't?
No.
It sounds so familiar to Midnight Train. Don't look it up.
For those of you again that cannot see, Buddah Black is again speechless.
So
He's like, why haven't I seen this?
So
Have you seen Midnight Train? Don't watch it.
So as it goes on, they're guessing like when the guys are gonna leave the train, where is he gonna sit, if this guy is gonna offer his seat, and as he answers them correctly, she like gives him a blow job, a hand job, and eventually sex. Now when he climaxes and it's all on the cart and stuff, it's just like scattered, which happens a lot. She gave him one final question. She screamed. Now she said, guess which door the first person is gonna come out of. If you guess right, I'll say I was only joking. He guessed wrong and he was arrested for rape.
Wow.
You never?
Oh.
Wow, that's a classic. I love that one. Personally, because again, sometimes it's just about good storytelling. Screw the nudity and the absurdity.
It's
Sometimes
just like
it's just
awesome.
awesome.
But
Like, wow, I did not expect to that, especially when you find yourself. And for those of you that fact, I can't understand how you can just handle a twist like that and just go,
I'm gonna keep going.
I'm gonna keep going. I wonder what the next chapter is.
Oh, wait, I want to say something. Because of this, men and women in Japan go to different trains now.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just telling the audience, just if they didn't know.
So I had seen a documentary from Vice about like relationships in Japan and
Vice, hire us.
for
Name
real.
droppings.
Yeah, and one part of the segment, maybe this one wasn't from Vice, but the Vice one is very similar. So
You know, I get confused too. It's Vice, and then the other one is the docu guys. Not docu guys. It's like docu vids.
Or let him finish.
No, because it could have been one of those. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I know which one he's talking about.
So that's one of the services in Japan that they have is that they let you live out your fantasies, however they may be.
Vice.
So yeah, it was Vice. All right, cool. So there was this like lesbian couple, and one of the girls were into she actually liked that scenario, being on a, because it's not just in hentai. They have porn where like chicks are on a train.
What's
by
the name of
themselves,
it?
But
Vice.
No. Name for people that like having sex on trains.
Trican.
There you go.
actually, wait. I don't think this was this was Vice. This may have been like Cinemax, like later. Yeah.
No, but
I love
Trican.
adult content. It's sex is amazing, guys. Like condom up, lube up, have sex, have fun.
Yeah.
Right? There we go.
For a while, we thought that you were literally gonna change your tag to "fuck more." For a while, yes, he started tagging cars and walls and gay bars, saying, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's cool.
It just reminds me of that."
Yeah, people do need to fuck more. Like, get your
Less
fucking
problems,
stress
right?
out. Exactly.
Whether it's public or in the comfort of your own home.
Guys, be careful with fucking in public. Find like a good park, a very deserted area with grass, maybe somewhere near the water. All right.
Or if you just want to stand up, the park in Chinatown, Columbus Park.
There you go.
Columbus Park after 11 p.m. is empty.
Train cars are fun.
The only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get an audience of old Asian men, depending on the time.
Try bar bathrooms. Bar bathrooms are amazing, especially the unisex ones. There are a couple of really awesome bars out
The
there.
unisex ones are meant for the sex.
Exactly. they want it to happen. Some of the bartenders are like, yo, I want him to like say something wild, but it never happens. So you get the chick next to you like, hey, you look pretty drunk.
So which one's next? What's next on the list?
Okay,
guys?
number 12. In hentai, semen always tastes delicious.
That's not true.
In hentai, it is. Semen has always been delicious, no matter the quantity of the semen. It's just like for some reason.
I'm still trying to get over that. Rosa just admitted that out loud.
In real life, I wouldn't know, but from what I've experienced, semen has its different taste based on what you eat, and many guys have many different diets.
I have to say something. I know a few men, not gonna name, that actually tasted themselves because they were curious.
It happens.
When what did I step into from Hentai Logic into sex ed class again? Like, what the?
Wait, are you actually upset because you think I was talking about you?
No, I'm not saying you were talking about me. Now I'm kind of offended that you brought my name into this.
Oh wow.
Essentially.
Somebody catch your feelings.
Essentially. I thought this was Hentai Logic. I thought we was gonna observe, like we're breaking it down to
Hero.
Breaking down the logic.
We are trying to teach these people
the difference between fantasy
and reality. And in reality, it does not taste good.
So you have taken it upon yourself. You have given yourself this title, this badge of honor, that I must draw the bridge between the reality and the fantasy with the true science, the true sexual science of intercourse. Is that what you're acting like right now?
It's like, you know,
I plead the fifth.
you know, because sometimes it has, from what I've been told, you know, it can be sweet, it can be bitter, it can be salty, you know. It's all based on what you
vitamins.
Vitamins. It's not even vitamins. It's all based on what you eat. If you eat a lot of fruit, it's gonna be sweet. If you eat a lot of fast food, it's gonna be salty. If you just eat a lot of garbage in general, it's gonna taste bitter. Just watch what you eat. If you actually want to have sex, it's like just eat tons of fruit. You'll last longer. You'll actually ejaculate more quantity, and it'll actually taste better for the female if she wants to swaddle.
If anyone wants to know, right now, Hero just had like a heartfelt moment.
Heart attack, more like it.
No, it was a heartfelt moment for what Savious just said.
It's like, you know, I hope you guys are taking notes because, you know, like
whenever they hear this in the future.
Whenever you guys hear this, just, you know, write this stuff down because we are not making this stuff up. Okay. Now, number 13 on this list. I kind of got the crazy ones out of the system. The crazy ones were the earlier ones.
Those were the crazy ones?
The earlier ones were the crazy ones. Were like the, you know, irrefutable, just what the fuck. Now, number 13 is like, for some reason, hentai, everyone lives happily ever after. Whether it's a vanilla or not, you're just gonna end up happy. Except if it's an NTR, then someone's not happy. But everyone else is.
Actually, I have to say something about those two. I've seen an NTR where the wife and the husband are happy. And I have seen a hentai where the girl turns evil at the last chapter and she just has sex with him until he dies. Just so y'all know.
She lived... Listen. She lived happily ever after. She lived.
But you didn't say that. You said they.
Like, everyone lives happily ever after is what I said. But yeah, for those who live, they live happily ever after.
The ones that died happy.
Actually, he didn't die happy. He died dehydrated.
I don't know.
It was like
Dehydrate me any day.
It was like, you know, like sometimes when the women are the evil, you know, are the antagonists in the story, they actually do have like sex with guys until like they die. It happens in Buddah Black if you play the game. It happens to you in like maybe 4 out of the 12 endings. Not to spoil anything, but in Buddah Black, out of the 12 endings, only like 2 of them are good. It's like, man.
So we're on 13 now, right?
Oh, that was 13.
14.
And I announced 14, which getting caught while fapping will get you laid. Which is hilarious. It's like, I want to get caught fapping and it leads to sex.
It was so good you had to put it on the thing twice?
No, I just went forward to it.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I just like fast forward into it because it coexists with another topic. But, you know.
Number
15. Now,
the last one.
The last one,
Brace yourselves.
which doesn't get me through logic, well, it's logic, but I don't understand why it doesn't happen. In hentai, during like deep throating scenes, the women do have no gag reflex whatsoever. No matter how big the penis is or anything, or how deep it's going, they actually, you know how in hentai, they actually show the X-ray of how deep it is.
I feel like I just lost a testicle there. Oh.
And there's no gag reflex at all.
I feel like porn stars need to take notes.
It was like, I don't know. How is this not happening? There's well, not for some women, they have like no natural gag reflex, but, and I heard it like mostly, like, not to offend anyone, but like a lot of obese women have no gag reflex as well. It's like these obese women, they're obese because they chose to be, because they like just scarf down a lot of food.
Actually, some women are actually born obese, so they don't know.
He's saying aside from genetic.
Aside from genetic women
No,
that
no.
are just naturally, you know, big, there are some women that actually like just chose to be obese. It's like they just scarf down food because it's there, and then, you know, there's
More like with eating disorder, kind of. I got you.
And then there's some with the eating disorder that they're like, they became obese because they eat when they're depressed, which isn't good. And
I used to
then
be like that.
and then it's the anorexic chicks who eat something to throw it up, which I don't like wasting food. If I meet someone who ever threw up food, I just punch them in the face. Like, if you voluntarily threw up food, I do not like that. I like to cook and I like to eat.
And you like women that eat.
I love women that eat.
Oh yeah.
I love my plus size girls.
Wow, that was a very, very in-depth look at why some of our favorite hentais are what they are, why we love them so much. It's about time. For the record, you were just listening to
Hentai
Savious gets his own Japanese schoolgirl screaming at you. But I think it's a good time to get back on point. So with the pop topic, digital versus traditional. What is art? Is it art? I've got that we've all established that inconsolably we all agree on the same topic. Should one devote themselves exponentially to their craft, they are indeed artists, regardless of which medium it is, digital or traditional. Sorry, we're starting to get some comments coming in.
What did the comment say?
What the fuck is that talking? Laughing my ass off. And I believe that was in conjecture to your little intro.
The Hentai Logic?
All right. All right, but back to the point. Back to the point at hand. We all agree that, you know, when one devotes themselves to their craft, they are indeed an artist, right? But there's times where even I've gone, you know, I wouldn't say it like that. What I will say is, when does commercial art start playing a role, and how that affects the substance or the true essence of what is art?
Are we just gonna stay silent and not talk about anything?
They contemplate commercial art. What does that do to the quality of art? Be it traditional or digital. Does it being digital make it any more appealing, or it being traditional make it any more appealing or more relevant?
Well, on that point, I don't feel like something being traditional or digital like makes a difference you know, like it'll still have the same impact. If it's good, you know, or if it made you think something, if it made you experience something, you still experience that thing, you know, that was real. But I don't know, can you like elaborate a little more? But
I mean, the example I gave earlier is kind of where the gaming industry first began, and kind of like the video game industry first began. And you can't talk about the game industry unless you talk about what happened in the past E3. But that's not the point. We'll get to that in a second. But with the gaming industry and kind of like the shift that it started from when it was blips playing asteroids to now 24p HD graphics. HD graphics that are dominating the thing. Now, here's the thing. What you get are the complaints that, well, I'm getting greater graphics, more gameplay, better gameplay, but there's always something lacking in the story. It's not the same. And that's what I mean in order where we're seeing instances and in different mediums, regardless if one considers video game art or not, where it's almost as if what the foundation that medium was born on, something happened to that art, to those artists, or something happened to the audience that completely and utterly, I don't want to say degrade what was going on in the industry at the time, or in their medium at the time, but it did kind of leave many of the people who grew up with it wanting.
so that in itself, that's the same, right? All right, so like that's the thing for me, as of recent, like a lot of us nerds, we complain a lot about the content that gets put out nowadays, and a lot of it isn't like, it's not terrible, you know, it may be a little different, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I don't know, you gotta look at it from like, some things are made for consumption, you know, like they're made to be quick. It's supposed to be something easy. It's for the general populace, you know, and then they do make things that are amazing, that are grand and surpass your expectations, and they, you know, they draw back to like their foundation. So my example would be like The Legend of Zelda. Okay, so when I played Legend of Zelda as a child, it was just like I was just thrown into this world with no explanation. Some guy gives me a sword, and it's like, hey kid, whatever, you're on your own. figure it the fuck out, okay? You know, and like that was really challenging as a kid. Like, I don't know what's going on. What do I do? Oh, you can push this block here. Oh, cool. So right, we got puzzles now. Great. So you know, and they don't tell you how to kill anything. It's mind-boggling. There's no order. It's just you're in this world. Boom. Figure the fuck out. Mm-hmm. And no other game had done that for me for a really long time until I played Dark Souls.
Which is weird, because I've been getting that a lot from Dark Souls, but then do we completely disregard Fable, or is Fable getting swept under the table now?
I didn't play Fable, but was Fable difficult like that? Like I remember Fable being cool because it had a
Fable, basically the way the mechanics work, where like it derived itself on making difficult decisions. It was a game based on good and evil, essentially. It was really melodramatic, really fantasy driven. But the thing about it is that what happened again with the reproduction, that's what I'm getting at with the lack of substance in the industry nowadays. When something gets reprocessed over and over, the love gets lost. Or I guess that's what it is with me. With digital, I feel like the love is lost.
Not
all the time, not all digital, but when it's massively produced.
Well, that's why you have to stay away from content like that. That's like, all right.
Yeah, you're the king. You're the king of underground now.
Yeah,
he took that title from me.
you just have to stay away from certain stuff, man. Like, all right, not to dump on Assassin's Creed, but that series is freaking huge. People love Ass Creed, you know. But
Ass Creed.
yeah, Ass Creed.
Which don't get me wrong, I'm totally excited for it. I'm playing 4 assassins in the middle of the French Revolution and kicking Napoleon in the butt. Like, let's do this.
That sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. But the last game, the pirate game, like
Black Flag.
Black Flag. There were a lot of things that you couldn't do, and you know, for it to be a next gen game, like it made things tedious for me, and it wasn't entertaining. It wasn't fun. It didn't draw me in. It didn't catch my attention. And another thing that
well, I felt what the thing about with and I don't know if you heard about this, which is interesting, and I guess it kind of ties into what we're talking about. With Black Flag, they just wanted to. The thing about Ubisoft is they just love playing with certain game mechanics in their previous games. So then with Assassin's Creed, hey, let's introduce that boat fighting mechanic, and it's like, let's see how further we can go with the boat fighting mechanic. And it was fun in 3, not that entertaining. It was, I'm shooting at another boat. All right, whatever. But with this one, I don't know if you guys can count Liberation or not, but with this one, what Ubisoft just released, especially, and this was E3, baby. Ubisoft just said that they could not make one out of the 4 main assassins female, because of time and effort it would have taken to create said character. What? This is what I'm saying. In the digital, like I feel like when I guess my big issue with digital versus traditional is that while traditional, I feel like art is more free spirited, but when digital gets in and it's so mass produced, when it gets eaten up by the big guys, by the mega conglomerates or whatever you get, I say that it becomes about, as you said, it becomes an issue about consumption and less about the message, or less about the substance, less about the emotional attachment one has to.
I wouldn't say that that's something between traditional and digital. That's just
no, but how, and it's not, again, we've made it abundantly clear, it's not all digital. But what I'm saying is that the industry is doing its best. Entertainment, art, however you want to put it, is doing its best to put it like, no, digital is the new wave, we control digital. I mean, even now, Disney is going, what's 2D with the Pixar stuff? And I love Pixar, for the record. Their last couple of movies, But again, it's a matter of opinion. I didn't mean to get that deep into it.
Well, if you're talking about like, how do you call it? You're talking about advertisement, right?
Yeah. Advertisement.
Okay, so
any entity that makes a living off of the creative property of others. So even, I guess, even code at this point is for sake of argument, coding, like programming, can be considered an art form.
All right,
because we're talking about anything that can be bought as a creative property.
What I was going for, because I did a couple of things when I was in college, such as how do we call it? I used to do a lot of ads when I was in college, because that was one of the projects that I had to do. Basically, he was teaching us. I don't know if you guys would agree to this. There was this Russian old clock, like watch thing. I forgot the brand of it, the name of the brand, but there was somebody else did a same replica, like this millennium, like it was 20th century and then 21st century. What happened was he asked us, is this person got inspired or was it ripped off? And it was the same company. What I wrote was, I believed it was a rip. Reason why? Because it looked exactly the same. There was nothing unique about it. It was a female with her hand like this, and you see the watch. Again, the same replica. Female laughing, and then you see a watch. And it was not trying to be racist, but it was an African American woman. I don't mind that. It's just that they did the same thing that DC and Marvel are doing.
DC and Marvel are practically just doing it to each other.
All right, guys. So
Don't get me started.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
this is a good time to end the episode of RLIP. If you're listening to this on YouTube, it's probably an older episode, so you should subscribe and leave comments and give us your take on the topic. What do you feel? Is there a really big difference between digital art and traditional art? Also, if you want, also subscribe to us if you want any future updates or future editions of the series. And if you're listening to us live, thank you for your support. Let us know if you liked it. We should work on making another edition of the series. But before we go, we do have one question for each individual. I think we're gonna do it one at a time. All right. Could you classify anything you take pride in creating an art form, no matter what it is? Could you classify anything that you take pride in creating, no matter what it is? Savious?
Yes. Like, I take pride in everything I do. To my crappy drawings, to my deep poetry, to just me being as open about hentai as I am. I don't know. I'm that guy. I'm honest with myself. Even though my life sucks sometimes. It's like I'm happy with what I do because I'm having fun doing it. There's nothing that can stop me from doing what I love. I like to show people hentai. Like shit. It's like
We know that.
If I could make money off of it, I would. And there's probably some way in the future I probably could. There are no limits to what you can do with any form of art. Art has its many shapes and forms, and there's no limits to art. So yeah, I'll be proud with whatever the future holds for me with whatever I pursue with art in any shape or form.
Good answer.
Great answer. I'm Savious.
Mr. Buddah Black.
What's up?
So yeah. Definitely. Anything you do that you can take pride in is, or I would. Wait, is it a direct question to me? Like,
Yeah,
individual.
Okay, all right.
He said, could any of us?
Yeah, definitely. Like, well, you see, again, for me, art and creation, like, that's just life. Life is all about creating. Life is all about experiences. So, like, just the way I carry myself throughout life, I take pride in that. Like, this experience right here, this is art. This is live. It is. There are definitely live improv performances. This is what this is. It's a live improv, and I take pride in this. This is awesome. I'm here with you beautiful people. Thank you for listening. That's my answer. Love you, BB.
Rosa?
I'm gonna be truthful. There are some art that I actually don't take pride to. And it's because it's either old or I really, really didn't enjoy doing it. So yeah, I kinda don't take a lot of pride for my own artwork. I'm guessing it's because I'm bashful, we would say, Anthony? I mean, Hero?
You guys just love saying my middle name.
I apologize.
Throughout the entire episode.
I apologize.
You didn't know? There's an A in my name. It's Hero A Lux now. Just love saying my middle name.
No, but
You know when people are close to you when they start calling you by your middle name.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like
I say if you're asking me what it is when you don't take part in your art, I say that when I see it happen with you, it's a mixture of self-sacrifice. Like, you don't want to see, like, I always have this thing where Rosa doesn't want to build her ego way too much. She feels that she feels like if her ego gets too big, she won't be able to perform the way she is. So I guess you have what I would call a controlled pride. You are prideful when you want to be, not because you have to be.
Yeah, technically.
Well, you never have to be prideful.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. I don't see, like, I like some of my artwork, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna love every single one of them. Yeah, I'm the creator of it, but it's like, if I want to destroy this artwork, I'm going to destroy it because I don't like it. Technically, I'm a god that creates things, but if I want it to destroy it, I can easily erase it.
Which is be disheartening to us, because we all three of us here, we love your work.
Definitely.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
You are your biggest critic. You
Yeah,
are your biggest critic
exactly.
at the end of the day.
But the thing is that even if I like my artwork, there are gonna be people that are not gonna like it, and I understand that because everyone has their own taste. Everyone's gonna like different things, and that is the same thing with digital artwork and traditional artwork. It's still artwork, no less, but some people are gonna like it and some people are gonna hate it. It's just part of life.
You're right.
You're your own biggest fan.
Yeah, and your worst enemy.
Yeah, definitely.
As for me, if anything I take pride in classifies as art.
Writing.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's completely what I was saying, but the way I would put it is, I just do it because I have fun doing it. I say, you know, if that's the case, there's an art form to a baker who enjoys, you know, putting the loaf of bread into the thing, you know. But I'm not too keen on calling it an art. I like thinking of things as forms. And when I write and when I create and when I come up with concepts and when I come up with characters, to me they're just forms. They're not the art until it's accepted widely by people. Because at the end of the day, most people who haven't been classically trained in art history are all thinking the same thing. They don't know art, but they know what they like. At the end of the day, if I can build a discussion around that, it was like, oh well. If I can build a discussion around that, I was like, oh well, you know, it's bad. Oh, why? It'll only make me improve as an artist, or as a writer, or as the multi-talented SOB I am. And that's all we have for today. Any of you guys want to give your farewells or final thoughts before we go?
Yes, a man needs to eat. It is 11 p.m. Eastern time. A man needs to eat. So I hope I'm coming home to a cooked meal. It's like, but you know, me personally, I'll see you guys, well, you listeners, at a future convention. And if you guys have a convention you want me to show up, have a hentai panel at, you could just leave it in the comment section. You know, I'll try my best to appear.
Yeah.
We'll make sure Savious appears.
I'll be at Anime Boston next year.
Oh, cool.
Nice, nice.
Mr. Taru himself is gonna be at Anime Boston this year. That's awesome.
Next year.
Don't let it get overwhelming, man.
It'll be my 4th year at Anime Boston. I did a
doing a panel?
Oh,
No, I did
You're
a
so lucky. I've been wanting to go to Anime Boston for
I did a
longest.
hentai panel last year, which went surprisingly well for my first hentai panel at Anime Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then you know how it was later in the day. You know, in Springfest I can't have my panel like at midnight. So like all the, you know, and there was this one guy that was sitting in the front of my panel, and he was just like so hyperactive. And he was so hyperactive at the point, and like my friends were there, and they were listening on to they were just watching him, and they were like, wow, this guy is just really into it. And then when I got to the point of Buddah Black, he was like, wow, too much plot, and he got up and left, and he had a boner in his pants. Like, we know what he went to do. He did to go rub one out, you know. It was a bathroom like right around the corner.
Black, Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks. Thank you to our listener that asked that awesome question. Please keep asking questions. Ask lots more questions.
We really don't want to go home. We're ready for your questions right now. Use us while you still have us.
You really can. I don't mind.
Yeah.
As long as I'm coming home to something cooked.
I hear that too.
I'll be depressed if I don't go home to something cooked.
Rosa, final thoughts, farewells.
Wait, he's still talking.
Yeah. For those of you who are interested, check me out on Facebook.com.
Oh, how can I?
What is a Burstion?
What is a what?
What is a Burstion?
BURSTION. Just check me out there for a bit. By our next episode, I should have some things set up, you know.
Like, can you answer that question for me?
What is a Burstion?
Yes.
Hey man, I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Okay.
All right, Rosa. Final thoughts.
Final
farewells.
thoughts. All right. Final
Anything you want to
thoughts.
say?
Well, I'm actually glad that people started listening in, even though it was kind of late. But I'm actually happy that someone actually hit us up and asked us a question. Thank you again for actually asking us questions, whoever you are. I'm just glad that at least some people or someone listened to us, because you know we actually talked a lot about things.
We talked in depth about art in general,
Yeah,
which is really what's gonna get me excited for the next, if we do make a next installment.
And not only that, we also talked about like we also talked about hentai, but not only about like Hentai Logic, we actually got in depth of the meaning and everything.
It's like what we did here today is that we just like explained how we feel about this, and like it's not common in conversations nowadays where people just say, "Oh hi."
Why do you like what is it that you like, and why do you like it? Nobody's really asking those things.
No one just like, they just answered a general question, but what we did here was we actually answered the follow-up question of why on our own. And it's like I believe that not a lot of people, like, for some reason, I don't want to be mean, but a lot of people aren't like smart enough or intellectual to talk like we did.
Or just shy, and generally shy.
Like some people can be shy, but you know, like, how about you just go in depth on like what you feel about something? People like really aren't in touch with their feelings nowadays. It's this. I want this. I'm gonna say I need this, but I don't need it. I just want it like more. You know, people are buying $250, sneakers, when you could just be like me and buy a pair of $60 sneakers, and the rest of the money is just for food. Honestly, I spend more money on food than I do anything else.
Well, if you want, what we can do, let me know.
I agree.
Because our financial director is a financial advisor as well. We could set up something. He could sit down with you, help you out with your budgets, figure out where you're losing money.
Food is where I'm losing money.
Dave, don't you have anything to say?
Like, honestly,
Hold on. Our financial director, who is pretty much going to give us the pass-fail as to if we can continue this series or not, through his perspective. What are the final thoughts after observing everything do you want to put? For those of you just listening now, Daquan wasn't one of the correspondents, but he is our financial director. He stopped by to check out how the podcast was doing, and he kind of put the cash up for us to get all this equipment. So,
Besides my computer.
Yeah, with the exception of Rose's computer. But to like wrap everything up in short, like I after listening to what everybody has had to say, I kind of like I have now more of an extensive knowledge of like what art is and why people love art and why they love doing what they're doing. I have learned more about anime and different things about hentai that I never really noticed up until tonight. So I guess I have to really study about whenever I like come across hentai or just porn in general. But like, not to get off topic, but like in the long run, I do hope we do this again. I hope that we do get more viewers and followers. And for anybody who's out there listening tonight, enjoy your weekend, enjoy Father's Day. For all you baby daddies and future fathers up there and current dads out there.
Happy Father's Day, yo.
Oh, for the record, one of our commenters is a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
they like the cue.
All right.
I'm sorry to spoil this for you, but it's not a female.
All right, that's fine. But in the future, I don't want to like spoil it for anybody. But we are going to do like a separate podcast later on. I'm not really sure if we're going to actually do it or not, but just stay tuned and find out.
Oh, well, that's all, folks. Be safe. As always, question everything, defy contemporary thought, and pick up a freaking book. I'm your host, Hero Lux, and you were listening to
RLIP. Interactive Podcast.